Hi, this practice is for kindness and it's a seated practice, so you can follow along on a chair, but you can also sit on the floor cross-legged or with your legs out in front of you. You could sit on your bed. If, like me, you could also practice from a wheelchair. However you want to practice, that's absolutely fine. But also, actually, if you don't want to be seated, you can also follow along standing up as well. And I think let's start by thinking about inviting in the energy of the sun. That might feel like a strange thing to do, but the sun has got so much beautiful energy. We get so much from the sun. Things grow because of the sun, the earth exists because of the sun. We are here because of the sun. So there's so much energy comes from that. But we have our own sun as well, our hearts inside. And think about how we are who we are because of our hearts and our own internal sun. And also it's nice to think about something we called ahimsa, which is the sort of representation of compassion and also kindness, and just being kind and compassionate to ourselves and other people. And with that in mind, we can start by welcoming who we are, whoever we are, however we are. However you find yourself in this practice, wherever you might be today, is absolutely fine. Just as you are is just wonderful and exactly what you need to be in this practice. It's always nice to start a practice with some deep breaths and some breathing. We breathe all the time, it's something we take for granted, but actually it's nice to just stop and think consciously about our breath. And a nice way to do that is to breathe alongside the movement of our hands. So you can, on an inhale, we can lift our hands up, and on an exhale, we can bring our hands down. So let's try that for a couple of breaths. We breathe in on an inhale, and we breathe out as we move our hand down. Breathe in, and breathe out. And just slowing your hand down as well, also consciously slows that breath down. So we can slow it right down. We can breathe in, and we can breathe out. And you can try maybe breathing in with the inhale slightly shorter than making the exhale slightly longer. So you can breathe in and breathe out. We'll try that one more time. Breathe in. Let your breath return to normal and bring your hands to your sides. This is a pose that we call mountain pose. And this is a really nice pose. It's still possible to do in a chair in a seated position. And think of your head as the top of that mountain range. And we just sit here for a second in stillness. And then we can start to shake. Maybe we've got a bit of nervous energy. Maybe it just feels good to shake. We just start with our fingers maybe. And then maybe we can bring some movement into our hands. And then maybe we can bring some movement into our arms, and we can throw ourselves around a bit on the chair and see how that feels. You know, if Taylor Swift says it's okay to shake it off, maybe that's good enough for all of us. We bring some movement in, and we bring it in, we bring it in, we bring our hands up, we bring our hands above our heads, and we give them a good shake, and then we stop. And we just see how that feels for a second. My heart's beating a bit faster. That internal sun is glowing a little bit warmer. Maybe we try that again just one more time. So just again, come back to stillness. You can close your eyes just to bring into stillness. It's not essential at all. And again, we start with our fingers. Or if you want to just start shaking, you don't have to follow my lead. You can go wherever your body wants to take you. And you can shake things out along here. And I can see out the corner of my eye, my legs are moving. And that's one of the great things about this kind of movement, is I was told I can't move my legs. And yet when I shake like this, they're wibbling and they're wiggling. And it's really good. And that's one of the beautiful things about moving in this way. And we stop. And take a deep breath. And be like, yeah, that felt pretty good. Cool. We'll do a little shoulder movement. So a nice way to just try and get your shoulders nice and relaxed. Try not to, it's quite possible sometimes we hunch our shoulders a lot, or there's a lot of tension in the shoulders. I get a lot of tension in my shoulders from pushing my chair, and I find it really difficult to relax them. So one thing I like to do is when you breathe in, if you think about what we've just been doing with our hands, you breathe in, you can bring your shoulders up to your ears. When you breathe out, you can let them go. If you're on your own, you might feel like you're able to make big breath noises. So try and kind of do the breath in motion with what you're doing with your shoulders. So we breathe in and release the shoulders on the exhale. We'll do that 3 more times. So we'll breathe in, lift the shoulders, and we breathe out. And then we breathe in. Hold that there for a second. Breathe out, and then 1 more time. And then we breathe out. And just sit for 1 second. Notice, how do your shoulders feel? You might want to move them around a little bit. You know, I'm just a guide. So if in this moment you feel like you want to move, if you feel like you're getting a bit itchy and you want to kind of move yourself around, do that. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. This is about doing what feels right for you. You're your best teacher. You know what your body wants to do. Listen to your body. Tune into that energy in your body. It's great to be able to do that wherever you are. My body's saying, let's do some sun salutations. And sun salutations are another great way of bringing the sun into the practice, in the way that the more that we do them, we warm our body up and we start to get that heart pumping, and we can feel nice and warm and the energy of the sun as we're doing these movements. So the first one, we'll go nice and slow. I'll guide you through it. Just take your time, and maybe we'll do another one after that, and maybe another one after that, and then maybe another one after that. And by that point, you might be able to do it just by following along with the verbal cues, or you might be able to do it just in a way that you remember. So we start with our hands by our sides. Again, this is sitting mountain pose. We bring our hands together in front of our chest. We lift our hands up, and you can look to the sky. Try not to lean too far back if you're in a chair, because you don't want to topple backwards. And then we can bring ourselves down into a forward fold. Now a forward fold, you can come all the way onto your knees. You can just put your hands on your knees and just lean forwards a little bit. You can bring your hands behind your chair and use that as an anchor and just lean forwards. Or if you really want to, you can just look down. Sometimes a forward fold can feel a bit unsettling. It can make you feel a bit dizzy. If you've eaten, it can make you feel a bit funny in your tummy. So just go wherever you feel is most comfortable for you. So we'll start again up to the forward fold. So we bring our hands by our sides together. We look up, careful not to go too far and fall out of our chair, into a forward fold. And then we come back up and we bring our left leg up in front of you. We hold that there for a second, and we bring our left leg down. And you put your hands on the side of your chair, and you can lift. You can just straighten your arms out. You can lift your back up. You can hold that for a second. Again, if you want, you can just put your hands on the side of the chair and push down. You don't necessarily have to lift your bum off the chair. We lift up, and then we bring our hands up into cactus arms. From cactus arms into a seated downward facing dog, and think about pushing your arms out in front of you as though you're really pushing against the floor. You can imagine that. And then we bring our right leg up. We bring our right leg down. Back to a forward fold, however you want to do that. We bring our hands up in front of us, above our head. Look up. Hands together. And then by our sides. That seem okay? Shall we do that again? We start with our hands by our sides. Bring our hands together. We put our hands up and look up. We bring our left leg up. We hold that for a couple of seconds. We bring our left leg down. Your forward fold. We come up to cactus arms. into a downward facing dog, again pushing forwards. We bring our right leg up, and we let that down into your forward fold, however that may be. Bring our hands up above our heads, and then our hands together, and then our hands by our sides. And if you want, there is the option to stand and do this as well. You can do this using the chair for a bit of balance. You might just be feeling a bit stuck on the chair as though you want to move around a little bit. You can still do these if you're stood by the side of the chair, or as I say, you can put your hand on the chair for a bit of guidance when you're lifting your leg up, when you're balancing on one leg, just for that extra balance. But again, I'll guide you through. We'll do 2 more. So take a deep breath, hands by our sides. We bring our hands together on an in-breath. Breathe out, breathe in. We bring our hands up. Breathe in, and we breathe out. You can go back to your forward fold. Breathe in, and then on an exhale, we can lift our left leg up. We can come into cactus arms. I've missed out plank, but you're probably at home saying he's missed out plank. That's all right, we'll do that next time. Into cactus arms, we could push forward into downward facing dog, and we bring our right leg up. I miss plank out because I don't really like doing plank. It's a thing that I do, but never mind. And we bring our right leg down. We try a forward fold. Again, however you might like to do that. If you're doing it this way, just keep your shoulders relaxed. You can look forwards, or you can look over your knees as though you're peering off the edge of something or into a pool and looking at your reflection. We come back up into cactus arms. Downward facing dog. I'm making this up now because I started waffling about looking into a pool, but that's all right. Let's bring our right leg up again. You're like, we've done this 15 times. We bring our right leg down, forward fold, hands above us, by our sides. And then we'll do 1 more time. That's okay. Hands by our sides. Let's try and make this a little bit quicker. Hands by our sides, hands together. We look up, come into forward fold. Bring your left leg up. Into plank. We've remembered that one this time. Into cactus arms. Downward facing dog. Right leg up. Release the right leg. Forward fold. Bring our hands up. Back together. And then we just stop for 1 second here in this pause. And just take a moment. Sometimes in a class like this, you might get asked to take a child's pose, which is quite a difficult pose to do in a chair. So I would like to say, sometimes it's nice to just bring your arms across your chest and give yourself a hug. Show yourself some kindness at the end of this practice. Take a deep breath into that hug. And close your eyes if you want, or keep them open. You work really hard in those sun salutations, so just take this moment to give yourself a nice cuddle. We'll bring our hands back by our sides, and we'll close this practice with 3 deep breaths. So we bring our hands to our heart. You could put one hand on top of the other. You could also put one hand on your tummy and one hand on your heart, whatever you feel most comfortable with. If that feels strange, you could just put your hands comfortably on your knees. We'll take a deep breath in. A deep breath out. We'll do 1 more breath in. And then release that breath. And then you can just bring your hands to your knees. Give yourself a smile. And thank you for letting me guide you through that practice.